More perspective on all of that now from Peter MacKay, who is a strategic advisor at Deloitte Canada and also the former Foreign Affairs and National Defense Minister. Peter, it's great to have you back with us. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, John. It's good to be with you.
It's been obviously a busy week. What's been your reaction to all of it?
Well, certainly the Republican convention has garnered a lot of attention, but as you alluded to in the opening, talk of the assassination, what's happening, of course, with President Biden and his current COVID and whether he will step down. This has dominated a lot of the discussion, but it was all eyes on Donald Trump last night as he accepted the nomination for the Republican Party to be their presidential candidate. And the clip that you showed and the opening almost showed a different Donald Trump, a more humble, conciliatory presidential candidate than we're used to. But the middle portion was more classic Donald Trump, and many of the same themes around immigration, economy, tough on crime, standing up to our adversaries. That was really the middle part where he veered off the script and the teleprompter and sort of demonstrated that vigorous, combative individual that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that ended up being a record speech even for Trump himself. And you raise a good point. There is a certain part of the Trump team that is trying to have a controlled message. At the same time, I think we all know that it's very challenging to control someone with such a personality like Donald Trump, which is why, you know, whether it's in the stock market or in global affairs, everybody's trying to figure out what a Trump presidency might look like. Now, we've had a few conversations with different folks who have said, even in the relationship between Canada and the U.S., we've had more than a few tense matters that we've been dealing with during this current Democrat administration under Joe Biden. But what do you think Ottawa should be thinking about, assuming Trump is victorious in November?
Well, I think getting to the government, the American administration, early to talk about and pre-position us in trade talks. As we know, there's a mandatory revisiting of the USMCA, formerly NAFTA. There are important implications for our national security. We know that the meetings in Washington at the 75th anniversary of NATO did not go particularly well, in spite of last-minute commitments that were made by our Prime Minister with respect to the 2% of GDP spending on defense. And so we're going to have to, in my opinion, try to have a bit of a reset if, in fact, it is a new American Trump-led administration. And we need to look at some of those eventualities and try to, as I said, not just anticipate, but pre-position Canada to be in a better position to deal with a new administration. That's where the focus, I believe, has to be if we're going to be able to continue to benefit from what has been, without a doubt, the most important trade security relationship in the world.
And speaking of the world, what is that dynamic we should think about when it comes to Canada, which obviously has strong ties with nations around the world? And I think during the last Trump administration, we were also watching that dynamic, not just the Canada-U.S. dynamic, but, you know, Canada's relationship with other countries and the views of other countries towards the United States.
Well, I think it's taking advantage, John, of an opportunity that's there. And that's not in any way to diminish the Canada-U.S. relationship, but, you know, pursuing free trade, for example, with the UK, and they have a new government as well, capitalizing on the comprehensive economic trade agreement with the European Union, doing more with South Korea, with Japan, other trading partners. This has really been a long-time pursuit that I think Canada should be following, and diversifying our trade relationship and setting Canada up for success, whether it's on our agriculture, our energy, our tech sector. There is tremendous opportunities for us not to compete with America, to be clear, but to be a little bit more forward-leaning in terms of Canada's interests abroad beyond North America.